You know, I've been thinking more clearly. Oh, I reviewed this one on Halloween instead of yesterday. Oh well, lost opportunity. So, today, Crawl. Something entirely different. Now, for a while I've been putting this one off because yet another giant alligator disaster movie hadn't really stood out to me, but it had been getting enough attention and enough favorable reviews that I decided to give it a shot. And this one's advertising campaign was all over, so the studio seemed confident in it at least. Well, I'll jump right in. So this one, Florida girl goes to rescue Florida man from a hurricane and is beset with alligators. And that's pretty much the plot of this movie. It's a very simple one. To go into a little bit more detail, a young woman, I believe, who's in college on the swim team, on the Gators. Subtle. Well, this, to be fair, is an Alexander Aja movie, which they're usually about as subtle as a jackhammer. But anyway, so she's down in Florida, and a hurricane's moving in. She gets a call from her sister that she has been unable to reach her father, and see if wants to know if she's heard from him or if she can go check on him. Well, despite the impending full force of a hurricane bearing down, she drives out to her father's place and discovers him down in the crawl space, which I believe is where the title actually comes from of crawl, as they're forced to, well, crawl around in a crawl space. I think that's the best I can guess on that anyway. Anyway, so she finds him unconscious and bleeding, and upon trying to remove him, suddenly alligators. And that pretty much goes from there as the crawl space slowly floods. Two very large alligators keep them trapped in, and it's about their attempts to escape. And as the flooded waters rise, as does the number of alligators, they do their best to endure the waters and the teeth. Okay, so Alexander, I'm probably butchering his name. He's a French director. Alexander Aja, I believe is how it's pronounced. I apologize if that's incorrect. Now, he's been on my radar for a while. He's a director I do normally enjoy for his completely over-the-top content and way more than necessary gore, typically. He's done such films as the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, Mirrors, which has got to be one of the bloodiest ghost movies I've seen. He's best known, I believe, for Hot Tension, or High Tension as it's known in the States. And he also did the remake of Piranha, or Piranha 3D as it was billed as, which is one of the bloodiest things I've seen in a long time. Now, for a movie about giant alligators, this is got to be his least bloody film that I've seen, and that's a little impressive considering the subject matter of gators biting people's limbs off. This has one of the cleanest arm severings I've ever seen in a film. Well, that said, it doesn't detract from the movie over, not going completely above and beyond, but considering the name of the director attached to it, it did surprise me and was almost a little misleading for one of his normal movies. My main complaint here would be the CG for the alligators. It isn't the best. I will say the way they interact with the environment as they're constantly bumping and banging into things, that part is done very well, but just when you're looking straight at the alligator, it is still rather clearly a CG effect, which does detract a little bit overall. Now, let's see. A few other things. This movie does go for the classic Deep Blue Sea moment of having a sudden attack at an otherwise completely calm moment. But Deep Blue Sea did it much better, and this one, it didn't have the calm moment necessary for it, considering how high tension, no pun intended with his other movies, this movie tries to maintain throughout it. And I will comment that the main girl does make some real bonehead moves throughout this movie, particularly towards the beginning. After she's already aware there's alligators, she realizes she dropped her phone in the crawl space, and after hearing it ring, there's still service, she wants to go get it. Now that I don't have a problem with. And if her father even recommends a safer route. Okay, great. But as soon as she gets to the phone, while she's away from their little safety area, there's an area with enough pipes that the gators can't get in and at them, she then proceeds to sit down and try to make the call out there in the open. She can see the alligator from where it is, and it's a ways away from her, but still, you'd think you'd want to take that back to the safety area, no? Nope, nope. She sits down right there and is accosted by the second alligator. Drops phone gets shattered, and we're right back into, oh, shitland. So yeah, not the greatest move there in general. That said, the movie does not get boring, as the tension does maintain pretty consistent throughout it, of them trying to try different things to escape the crawl space, or other things will happen as these alligators actively seem to be trying to thwart them. These gators are a little... they're kind of assholes. Like, any convenient moment to pop up and try to bite someone, they are there. Except for when the characters are definitely expecting them, then no gator. These gators have a sadistic sense of humor, I swear. Um, let's see. I think the only thing I need to comment is I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I will say it just sort of ends. I mean, it does resolve, but a movie like this, particularly with the dynamic of the main lead and her estranged father, they've been working through some social issues throughout the movie, but once the film ends, it doesn't epilogue at all with her sister who's moved away, with her father. It just ends. So it doesn't really do any follow up. I guess it doesn't overstay its welcome. The movie's like a cool 86 minutes, so it's short. So they could have spent a couple minutes, tying up a few ends. I mean, didn't really need to, but at the same time, the ending just felt very abrupt. Um, though it was kind of cute the way it cuts to credits and they start playing "See You Later, Alligator" by Bill Haley and his Comets. So cute, I guess. Um, so I put off this movie for a while because it didn't really jump at me, and after watching it, it still isn't doing anything new, different, or outlandish, but there's nothing that's really bad about it. The CG that complaint I had is pretty minor, so I'd give this one a 3 out of 5 MacGuffins. It's okay. I mean, it's a good rainy day, put on a scary alligator movie, but it doesn't really... it's not a rush out to see it sort of flick. So if you could pop it up on a streaming service for free or for cheap, go ahead. But otherwise, it's only okay. All right.